I was like, and I was like, and I was like, and I was like.
Life's a trip, so I decided to compile a list of everything that make me say, ain't that a bitch? In order to get a treat, you gotta do a trick. They go to got a real problem with. Wanna ride by my side like they get.
Well, I mean, again, it goes to education always being at the bottom of the list, and that's why, in terms of in the world, we're behind. And we will continue to keep getting behind in terms of innovation, in terms of production, because we put our money, our priorities are elsewhere. So.
And so between 2007 and 2011, the state cut 11.1% of higher education funding, equaling $8.9 billion. So what do you think about that?
That obviously they don't care about higher education, and they don't care about that their citizens and the population is struggling, not only wanting to go to school, but trying to pay back the debt that comes with getting a higher education.
And between 2007 and 2011, states cut 11.1% of higher education funding, which is about $8.9 billion.
How does society expect us to get any better if they keep taking away our education?
How do you feel knowing that you can't even claim bankruptcy on your student loans? And this was made into a law in 2005. Before that, you could, but now, since then, you can't claim bankruptcy on your loans. So how do you feel about that?
I think once again, I say that it's a setup. Because why is it an individual in society will have the ability to dissolve a car note, they can dissolve hospital bills, but yet you can't dissolve a huge bill that you get from higher education? What's the difference?
So how do you feel that you can't, how do you feel knowing that you can't put your loans into bankruptcy? How does that make you feel?
I would never want to file for bankruptcy, personally. It's not something that I really think about, bankruptcy. I never would want to do it. But I guess if I had to, if it comes to that, I would like for all of my debt to be discharged, all of it, if it could. But usually I'm really mindful of my debt and the things and the money that I owe and the bills I have to pay. So bankruptcy never crossed my mind. More than anything, I would just like there to be measures in place that helps paying back the debt easier. I mean, I understand it's a debt that I've acquired and I have to pay it back. But sometimes, you know, we know that the job market isn't so great and that you're not always working. So to just have someone to say that yes, you're able to defer or, you know, or forbear or whatever needs to be done until you get on your feet would actually be really helpful.
No, you can't. I mean, you used to be able to do that, go into bankruptcy for student loans. I mean, again, just it blows my mind at the level of greed, you know, and that people are just kind of like, well, you know, I didn't have to do it, but you do, and I'm going to make money off of it. It makes me really sad as well.
I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't want student loans to go into bankruptcy, because if you go into bankruptcy, these men on Wall Street can't profit off of you. Can't basically profit off of your
I'm pretty,
hardship.
and I'm pretty sure that probably plays a big part into that. You say 7.4 million citizens in this country owe money. That's a lot of money. You think that they're making off people millions and millions of dollars. So of course, who would want to give up that lifeline, that constant flow of money? And you think that students are continuously coming out of school with student loan debt, so it's a revolving cycle. Like you're always going. That's something that you're continuously going to make money off of. So yeah, why would you want to discharge that debt into bankruptcy?
Not just recent grads, but senior citizens owe more than $2 million in debt, and these are 60 years and older. How do you feel about that, knowing that your older population still owes money on their student loans, and it's $2 billion?
I think it's ridiculous that even in your senior years, you would have to worry about a loan that you probably had taken out in your, young adult years. It's ridiculous. And as a senior, with the income that you have at that point in time in your life, what really could you do with student loan debt?
That just that just makes my heart drop. That is something that I could just be paying on until the day I die. Like, that's ridiculous that something would last that long. And then being worried about that, and then being worried about the other costs that I'm gonna have as I get older. It just makes my heart drop.
60 years or older owe money to the government still for their student loans.
Oh, that's just awful. How can you pay? How sad is that when old people, the oldest generation in your country, still owes money to the government for student debt? That's just tragic. We should be ashamed of ourselves.
And they probably had to take out money for loans for their students, for their children also. If they have children that probably, decided to pursue higher education, so that's interesting.
That's awful.
Family, please. Like, yeah, I mean, in terms of car payments or things like that, yeah, because I'd rather chunk down the debt from student loans. I mean, I know that a lot of the financial gurus will tell you, like, student loan debt is like good, that's good debt, but it's still debt. So, with a car, even if I got something used, in terms of maintenance, that's still $6,000 to $8,000 a year, which could be going to student loan payments. And I live in the city, so I'll use public transportation for as long as I can.
Are you scared, as far as knowing that you have loans, are you scared to start a family, or do you feel like you can start a family with your loans and have a husband, kids, house, everything, and still know you have payments, or are you scared? Do you feel like you need to wait longer?
I feel like I would need to wait to allow my family to grow because of the student debt that I have. Children cost. And so $476 per month is pretty hefty. And I don't see that it would be conducive to my lifestyle.
So the $476 a month, since you have to pay it, do you still feel like after you pay your student loans, your car note, any mortgage expenses, or anything as far as that cell phone bill, do you feel like you're left with enough money to supply you with food, to supply you with like the basic necessities that every person should have after paying your loans?
After paying my student loans, there's nothing. So food, to be honest, is not even in the budget. I do eat, but it's not a part of the budget. As far as living a comfortable, lifestyle, it could be better if the student loan, was not there, or if the cost was not as hefty as it is.
And I was like, and I was like, and I was like, slide.
Life's a trip, so I decided to compile a list of everything that make me say, ain't that a bitch? In order to get a treat, you gotta do a trick that usually leaves you with just being a trick. Now that's the type of bras I got a real problem with. Wanna ride by my side like they in my clique, but in my world, you don't exist in it. You need to hydrate yourself, you're too thirsty, chick.